We're talking Saturday college football bets, Jake. Yesterday we did our Thursday and Friday picks. Obviously, we'll get to watch those tomorrow, but there are some pretty big games on Saturday. Obviously, a lot of the spreads are bigger since some of the biggest teams are playing against either non-Power 5 opponents or whoever else they could throw together. But I think there are some good spots and good places to make some plays here.
Yeah, week one, always a ton of cupcakes for the big name schools, but there's a lot of really good games on the schedule. And the first full Saturday, all day, let's ride.
I'm hyped for it. And it starts off, for me, it's going to be 9 a.m. in California. I get to wake up to watch Colorado visit TCU. And this was a game that I think ended with a 25-point TCU win last year. And let's be real, there isn't a single person who thinks that this TCU team is going to be as good as last year's TCU team. But there are a lot of people who I would think, including myself, who think Colorado is going to be significantly better than they were. They have a better coaching staff. They have a lot more playmakers. Obviously, they pulled a bunch from the transfer portal. Here's my take. I don't know what to think of this depth chart with 18 new starters who've pretty much never played together. It kind of looks like a fantasy team because you've got a bunch of guys from Arkansas, Florida State, Alabama, Clemson, and a bunch of other random spots. But this is what I'm thinking, and this is the reason I'm going to have to take Colorado in this spot. 20 points is a lot, and Colorado's not just going to lay down and say, okay, we got beat down. They've got a chip on their shoulder. They feel the pressure because the media is kind of making a joke out of Dion and that team, saying they're just thrown together, and it is a fantasy team. Is it realistic that they would be able to go into the not the defending national champion, but the defending runner-ups house and come away with a win? Probably not. But can they keep it close? I'll say they can keep it close for a little bit. And because it'll be for a little bit, I think we go into the fourth quarter, maybe a 10-point game, and maybe TCU pulls this one off by 17. But I'm going to take the 20.5 here and just hope that Shador can air it out a little bit.
Yeah, Dion coach team are not going to just lay over and die. Colorado will show a lot of fight in this game. I don't think they have any chance to win, but I think they can definitely keep it within 20 points. And you're 100% right about Shador. I was shocked to see his over-under for passing yards at only 227.5. They should be down for most of this game trying to come back throwing the ball. He's going to be airing it out. I love that prop bet too.
I'm going to guess they have to throw all game, so I like it. Okay, the next game up is Ohio State at Indiana. Indiana is getting 30 points. Is there a reason for me to think that I should be taking the points here, or is Ohio State going to roll?
Well, how a roll, but 30 points is a lot in a Big Ten game. You know, as you said in the Thursday video, last season, the three Big Ten games week one were all within a 3-point spread. I'm not saying that Indiana is going to keep it within three of Ohio State, but Indiana has a brand new quarterback, brother of star basketball player Trace Jackson Davis, Taven Jackson, a 4-star recruit transfer from Tennessee. He's going to come in and bring a lot of talent to the position. Indiana has a lot of returning talent at the skill positions, 2 returning wide receivers, top 2 running backs also back. The defense, on the other hand, Indiana only has 2 returning defensive starters. New Ohio State quarterback Kyle McCord just announced as the starter today. Should be able to air it out to his former high school teammate Marvin Harrison, Amika Buka, and all the talent that Ohio State has. I like the over in this game. I don't see Indiana being able to stop Ohio State nearly much at all, but I do think that they could put up 20 points themselves and be close on the spread for maybe a backdoor cover. But I like the over in this spot. Over 59.5.
Yeah, I didn't realize they only have 2 defenders coming back. That is wild, especially for an Ohio State team who I'm guessing should get it rolling pretty soon there. So the over is at plus 100 on BroThrow. I know everywhere else it's at minus 110. So if you want to sign up and take any overs or spreads for plus 100 odds, which means you pay even money, $10 or $100 wins 10 or 100 straight up. Click the link in the description box below. It's brothrow.com/YouTube. You can sign up for free anywhere in the country and play. Easy as that. I'm not going to take anything in this game, but there is a game I like after that one. It's Tulane at home against South Alabama. The spread is at 6.5. I'm not sure if you took this one with me last year, but Tulane played in the bowl game against USC. They were down like 20 points in the fourth quarter. They rallied back. They covered the spread, and they won outright. I was a huge Tulane fan after that, and I thought, man, I'm going to be betting on Tulane a lot next year. Then this game pops up this week. I see the 7.5 spread. Then it moves to 7. Now we're at 6.5. And I'm like, what's up with South Alabama? I go back and look. They've got 18 returning starters. Now, you look at Tulane. They had Tyjae Spears. They had these 3 receivers, or I think it was 2 receivers and a tight end who led their team last year in the passing game. Those guys are all gone. Their QB's back, and he led the offense, obviously, so they're not going to have too much of a drop off. I think they could still compete for a, top 25 finish. But are they going to get back to 12 wins? I'm not so sure. South Alabama, on the other hand, could provide a serious challenge. Kane Womack is in his third year as the head coach after he took over a team who could not make a bowl game to save their lives. Last year, they went 10-3, and I think this time around they could push for a Tulane-esque top 15 season. They've got 18 returning starters, and I'm guessing with the multiple transfers from the SEC, I think they got somebody from Florida State and a few other schools, they're going to be able to compete right away. I love taking points in a game where I think it's a 50-50. So although this one's at night, although it's at Tulane, give me South Alabama with the points.
Kane Womack, a former Indiana coordinator. A lot of talent going through the Indiana halls in football, but I agree with what you said. South Alabama is an incredibly talented team. They were second in the conference last year, 9 or 10 wins, and they seem to be on the up and up. Tulane has a great quarterback in Michael Pratt, but it's going to have to be all on him in this game. Even though they're at home, I could see Tulane winning this game only by 3. I like South Alabama too.
Next up is Boise State at Washington, -14. We've been high on Washington because Penix is there and he's a Heisman contender. They have a really strong offense and an air attack, but Boise State in the past has been known to play spoiler. What are you thinking?
Yeah, Boise State has a very interesting offense. Hank Bachmeier left the team halfway through the season last year, and they really struggled until they went with new quarterback Talon Green. And once they put him in here and unleashed him on the ground, their season completely turned around, and they have a really, really strong rushing attack. However, against Washington, who's going to put up boatloads of points very quickly, are they going to be able to come back if Washington takes an early lead? This big ground game offense that Boise State runs is great when you start off with the lead and you maintain it, not when you're trying to play comeback. And when you're going against Washington with Penix, Roma Dunze, Jalen McMillan, studly offense led by Coach Kalen DeBoer, another former Indiana coordinator, I just don't know. I think that Washington's going to get out to a hot start with all their returning production, and I don't think Boise State's going to be able to run the ball back into the game. I like Washington -14 here a lot.
I don't know if I would say a lot. I like Washington this year, and I think they're going to be a strong team. But like you said, Talon Green averaged almost 33 points a game last year as a redshirt freshman, and he was just thrown into the fire after Bachmeier went down. So I was reading about it. It said Boise State returns the top running back duo in the Mountain West and 4 of their top 6 receiving threats. So I lean Boise State in this position, and I might actually take them. Next up is UNC versus South Carolina. The spread is +2.5. This is a neutral site game, but I think it's in the Panther Stadium, which is pretty much a home game for either of these two teams. It's pretty close to both. I know a lot of people like UNC this year because of Drake May, and it always seems like these big-time QB prospects end up getting people to overhype the overall team. But they lost their top 2 receivers and they lost their top 3 DBs. So when we're talking about playing a South Carolina team with one of the better secondaries in the SEC, they're going to need as much help as they can get at receiver. Now, Shane Beamer caught a bunch of momentum last year, kind of towards the end. And even though he's got to replace 12 starters, Spencer Rattler's entering year 2, way more comfortable. The SEC talent on the offense should be good enough to score on UNC. And that defense was giving up 450 yards a game last year. So in this rivalry spot, I'm going to take the underdog.
Yeah, a lot of times when a team in college football has a really, really high quarterback draft prospect, a lot of people just love to bet on them for that reason alone. I don't think that Drake May has a lot of help around him. They lost a lot of talent. They lost their offensive coordinator. I think that's South Carolina has a lot going for them. Spencer Rattler is a lot better than he was at Oklahoma. He's figured things out there. I think that's a great look on South Carolina.
Last up, we've got West Virginia at Penn State. Spread is 20.5. It'll be a night game at Penn State. I wouldn't call this a rivalry, but, these are two teams who are relatively close to each other. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the true rivalry is West Virginia versus Pitt. The fellow Pennsylvania college, Penn State, is going to come in and show out by having one of the hottest home crowds of week 1. Penn State fans always get up for games, especially big night games like this. So the crowd is going to play a significant factor in rattling quarterback Garrett Green. West Virginia, the strength of their team is their offensive line. They have the entire all 5 returning from last season and a pretty strong run game from last year. But Penn State's defense is absolutely nasty. I'm not expecting them to do much on offense at all. And in comes new quarterback Drew Aller for Penn State, one of their highest rated quarterback recruits ever. Nick Singleton, K-Trot Allen, one of the best running back duos in the entire country. They'll be able to move the ball. I don't see West Virginia being able to score more than 14 points against Penn State. So I'm laying the 20.5. I think Penn State is going to roll in this game. as the crowd goes wild in Beaver Stadium.
I won't make this an official pick, but I do refuse to bet on a coach on the hot seat, and I think Neil Brown is one of them. I'd lean Penn State here. My only hesitation is that with a new QB, are they going to try and run the ball a bunch, just drain clock and let him get comfortable? I don't know if they can cover 20 and a half. They might just burn that clock down and win by 17. So I'm going to lay off of it, but I like the pick. Jake, we've got another video to do tomorrow. We'll talk about the Sunday and Monday games, but until then, thanks for the picks.
Peace out. See you in the next one.